Good evening. Happy Wednesday evening. It is Anthony Delicandro, Dwell Real Estate, for those that I haven't seen. And I'm live here now on Instagram as well as Facebook. And just going to talk for a couple of minutes on the market report for the first quarter 2019. So I'm going to share my screen. If you're on Instagram Live, you're not going to see this, but you can jump over to the Facebook page or check it out later, and you'll be able to see the market update for the first quarter of 2019. And bear with me one sec as I prepare to share my screen. And so here we go. So hopefully you can see this. So South Jersey, Atlantic County primarily, Dwell South Jersey report, first quarter 2019. Similar story that we saw in the fourth quarter, right? We saw the number of sales decline. For the first quarter, sales are down 13% year over year. This was largely a result of what happened in the fourth quarter, where the market, for all intent and purpose, kind of hit a wall as we approached fall. We had a couple of important things take place. I'm going to scroll down on my screen so we can see what happened with pricing, right? Our prices are up 12% year over year for the first quarter of 2019. This is the 8th consecutive quarterly appreciation year over year. So we're seeing big gains in terms of pricing. We had a big, obviously, comeback to experience after the decline that we experienced after the crisis. We've seen big returns in overall pricing appreciation over the last 2 years, 8 consecutive quarters. The result has been a little bit of almost a sticker shock that we experienced as we approached fall. We had a lot of appreciation take place, as I said, in the last 2 years. And then we also had a sharp increase in the overall cost of finance, right? The interest rates increased almost a full percent over the course of that last year. And now we've seen interest rates start to settle down as we moved into the first quarter. In fact, interest rates currently are about a full percentage point lower than where they were at the height or at their peak in November of 2018. So let me scroll back towards the top of the page and start again. I just wanted to kind of reverse engineer what happened with pricing. But what we can see is we saw a decline in overall sales that occurred of just about 13% year over year. And if you look back over the course of the last 2 years, or last several years, we've seen sharp increases in terms of total number of sales. Up 12% in 2015, up 27% almost in 2016, 23% in 17, kind of flat in 2018. Now we saw a little bit of a backwards movement. If we also look at what happened in terms of inventory, we saw 11% more listings coming onto the market in 2015, up a little bit again in 2016, down in 2017, down in 2018, and now we're starting to come back a little bit again in 2019. As we look at these charts, the chart on the left-hand side, listings sold versus taken. We can see the top graph is listings taken. We can see how that line declined over the course of the last 3 years. Slight uptick from 2019 to 18, but overall we've seen a lower inventory than we've had on the market literally in almost 10 years or more. In addition, we saw the total number of sales increase every year for the last couple of years until the last, and then it just sort of tailed off a little bit as we moved into 2019. Again, the result of seeing less inventory on the market than we've seen literally in years. When you move to the middle chart, you can see how dramatic that little bit of a downturn appears as we move into 2019 in terms of the downturn of number of sales. And then finally, the graph on the right-hand side, prices reaching its bottom in 2017, then starting to rise relatively quickly as we move into 2018 and 2019. As we scroll down again, median sales price up 12% year over year. Not a super surprising story, but that's exactly what we've been experiencing. If we look at the chart as we tail all the way back to 2011, we can see some big price increases. We also noticed the number of sales that increased dramatically year to year until we hit 2019. Again, we're dealing with less inventory. As we scroll down, we can also see some big changes happening in the bank-owned inventory market. We explained we hit the peak of bank inventory back in 2017, where more than 1 out of 4 sales in Atlantic County was owned by a bank. Right now, we're experiencing we've reached the first time in over 4 years where the number of bank-owned sales in Atlantic County fell below 20%, so less than 1 out of 5. If you've watched my videos and read our reports for the last couple of years, we've talked about this. We've kind of seen the light at the end of the tunnel, and what we're then going to experience is higher levels of price appreciation year over year. And that's what we've experienced this year. The average price, or the median sales price of bank-owned inventory, has been increasing dramatically. There's a lot more competition for bank-owned properties, a lot more competition for in the investor segment of the market. And when you take the number of bank-owned sales, when you see it dropping that dramatically, knowing that a high percentage of those bank-owned sales are homes that are in distress, they're not well cared for, they're in need of repair, and all of a sudden we're reducing the total number, naturally the overall median is going to rise, just like the opposite occurred. When we look all the way back to 2012, 13, 14, when the average number of bank-owned sales was a much lower percentage, right? And then as we got into 15, 16, 17, and we see what happened with the pricing, the median sales price of bank-owned inventory, it had a major impact on median sales price. All of a sudden, we're reversing that cycle. Far fewer bank-owned sales that are occurring right now. Median sales price is rising. So we've got overall, generally a good return to higher prices as we move forward into 2019. And again, as we move further into 2019 and we see this percentage, 17% as it stands in Q1, continue to decline, continue to reduce as we move by the time we move to the end of 2019, I suspect we're going to see that number drop all the way down into the 14, 15% range. And as we move into 2020, it's going to move into single digits, thus, creating higher sales prices in the overall median. So that's basically the story here in South Jersey. Less inventory, rising prices, fewer number of bank-owned sales, overall a healthy, stabilizing market, and excited about where we're moving as we move further into 2019. Stay tuned later this week. I'm going to move in and explain what's happening in the individual towns as we move into the offshore markets, the onshore markets. I'm going to explain exactly what's going on in your town and what kind of response we're getting. We're seeing what kind of number of sale changes and price appreciation changes we're seeing. I'll go over all of those as we move further into later this week. If there's any questions you have, or if you're watching this because you're considering making a move in 2019, now's the time. Let's have a conversation. We look forward to providing you with the answers that'll help you make the right decisions as we move into the balance of this year. Thank you very much for joining me. Any questions, post them in the chat, send a direct message. I look forward to being able to offer you the right information to help you make the best decision possible. Have a great night. Thank you.